Hey guys, I hope you're having a good day. A little bit of stories time to start off with, just in case I sound a little bit weird in this video. It was my girlfriend and I's anniversary 2 days ago, and I booked us a reservation at a Michelin star restaurant. It was a great time, awesome time. The food was very interesting. I'd be lying to you if I said that I wouldn't rather have a McDonald's cheeseburger over everything I ate at a Michelin star restaurant. But regardless, it was expensive, and the best part is I chipped my tooth halfway through the dinner. So, with that being said, if I talk with a little bit of a lisp during this video, it's because I'm missing half my bottom tooth, and I have a dentist appointment tomorrow to fix it. So, just to set the expectation here, I hope you guys are having a good day, and that's what's going on in my life. But I wanted to make this video because this is something I've been seeing a lot of and thinking a lot about as I grow my financial foundation and I start looking at routes of increasing my income and everything of that nature. And I see a lot of negativity towards this topic, and I want to be the one to come online and I guess almost have a air quote hot take over the idea of working a 9 to 5. I personally think, I'm going to say the forbidden words here. I personally think it's okay to build wealth working a 9 to 5 job. I said it. I know everyone's in shock right now and can't believe it, but I think it's okay to build wealth working a 9 to 5. We live in a time period with content and advertisements and the ability of using the internet to your disposal. We live in a time where every video, not every video, but the majority of videos, especially if you're looking at growing your income and wanting to be financially free, every other video is telling you to quit your 9 to 5, start a business, be your own boss, start drop shipping, start e-commerce, start TikTok shop, start YouTube, everything like that, right? And listen, I know it works for a lot of these people, right? I know some people do great drop shipping and e-commerce and buying vending machines and opening car washes and starting Airbnbs, and you can name all the side hustles you want, right? But listen, while some of it works for some people, it also won't work for the majority of people. I think we live in a world right now where there's this grind set mentality that you need to get grimy, you need to quit your 9 to 5, you need to be your own boss, you can't be a wage slave to this corporation that only wants you for quick turnaround, blah, 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 right? I personally think a good job, corporate or non-corporate, with a good, solid culture, right? This company needs to follow their culture and live by a strong culture that has a clear promotion path upward, can be one of the best foundations to build wealth upon without quitting your 9 to 5, without, my main problem with this topic is I see too many times people feeling bad or feeling insecure that they work a 9 to 5 because they have people online telling them they need to quit their 9 to 5 to get ahead in life. And none of you, if any of you are working a 9 to 5 right now and you're putting food on the table and you're trying to get by, please do not feel bad working a 9 to 5. Just know you're doing the right thing. We all have to do it. The reality is not all of us are going to become rich millionaire content people, TikTok shop, drop shipper, vending machine owners. The reality is it's not going to happen. Statistically, all of us could not do that. There would never be a world where statistically and mathematically we could all do that. So I'm here to tell you that if you're working a 9 to 5, it's okay. And I think you're doing the right thing, right? So once again, I think the 9 to 5 hate has gone a little too far. There's a narrative that right now, if you're working for someone, you're a wage slave, you're wasting your life away. But not every job is toxic, right? Not every corporation is a pyramid scheme that wants you for certain things. Some of us, we also like the structure that comes along with a 9 to 5, right? We like knowing when to clock in and to clock out. We like planning our vacations. We like having that stability, knowing every single week I'm getting a paycheck. Every other week I'm getting a paycheck. Whereas if you own a business or you do side hustles or you do content creation, you don't know when that next paycheck's coming. Sure, you could have great months, but you could also have downturns. So some of us like that solid consistency. So the real question is, it's not whether you have a 9 to 5, right? It's, are you using your 9 to 5 intentionally and making your 9 to 5 work for you? So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. But to start with, I think there was a study that came out, and I don't know the exact statistics, so I might be inflating it or deflating it a little bit, but it's like 85% of kids nowadays want to become content creators and YouTubers. And I see why they do. Don't get me wrong. Once again, I'm not hating on content creators or YouTubers or anything like that. I'm making a YouTube video. I'm not hating on these people. But I'm just here to tell you that I don't think it's realistic that all of us could do that one day. And I think people need to set their expectations up that if you have to work a 9 to 5 the rest of your life, you still can be financially free. You can still have an amazing foundation, and you can still be happy, and you can still spend time with your kids, and you can still have a good work-life balance, right? I personally think a 9 to 5 can be a launch pad. So what I mean by that is, I like to treat my job like I'm an investor. So think about it this way. My job, my 9 to 5, it gives me consistent income. Like I talked about, we have that structure. We get paid every week at my job. I have a 401k match of 6%. So every time I put in 6% to my 401k, my company puts in 6%. I have health insurance. And by taking those three things and building upon those, I can budget because I have steady income. I can plan because I have steady income. And I can invest in other things like my Roth or maybe a side hustle because I have steady income and I know how much I'm going to make each week. So you don't have to choose between working a 9 to 5 or working a corporate job and building wealth. Believe it or not, you can do both. You can work a 9 to 5 and you can build wealth at the same time. You just have to stay focused, right? So this is what matters to me when it comes to working a corporate job or when it comes to working a 9 to 5. There's a few check boxes that this job has to complete for me to think it's a good 9 to 5, right? If your job path has a clear promotional ladder, I think that's a huge, huge win, right? I'm one of those people, I'm a hard worker, I'm driven, and I want to move up in the company I'm working for. The current company I'm working for has a very, very solid promotional path. Every single person in this company in leadership roles, assistant vice presidents, even the CEO of the company, all started from the ground up. They all started at the company and have been working there for a long period of time. So if your company has a clear path up, I think that is awesome, and that's something that should be in your checklist. The next thing is, you don't want to hate what you're doing, right? So for example, I do data analytics. I like numbers, I like money, I like data, and I like analytics. And I do the data analytics for the merchandising department. So I get to see numbers, I get to see money, and I genuinely enjoy what I'm doing. I get to make insights and actionable decisions for, our little team and apply my, learning and data analysis to help us make better decisions. I genuinely really enjoy my job. So I don't hate what I'm doing. And I'm taking the money and I'm funding my future. I'm investing my money. If you saw my first video I ever posted, I'm investing 51% of my income each week to fund my future. That's a win. That's literally financial freedom in disguise. A lot of people won't call it financial freedom because it's a 9 to 5 and there's this stigma that 9 to 5s are bad things, but that's a win. The other thing that matters is you want a good work-life balance. Yeah, if you're working a 9 to 5 right now and you never see your kids, okay, well, maybe you should look at a different company. But the company I work for has a great work-life balance. If you need to take your kids to school, they let you do it. If you want to go see your kids play basketball, they let you do it. Having that good work-life balance is very important too. Also, working for a company that you know is going to perform. The company I've been working for has been open since 1981, I think, 1965, very long time ago. This company performed great through all the economic downturns, through COVID, through everything. This company has performed great. That gives me that stability and security that I know my job's probably not going anywhere. So have a little checklist if for a 9 to 5, or if you're in your 9 to 5, and just as long as it's a company you like working for and that has a good culture and that follows, being good people and being supportive, there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. Also, like the name of the channel, Slow Stack Society, I'm playing the long-term game. Would I love to retire early? Of course I would. Would I love more flexibility? Of course I would. Would I love to be a millionaire tomorrow making TikTok shop videos? Of course I would. The reality is that's probably not going to happen. And I'm okay with that not happening because I've set clear expectations for myself. I'm not in a rush to blow up my financial foundation so I can be rich tomorrow. Would I love that to happen? Yeah. Would all of us love that to happen? Of course we would. But in reality, we have to know that it won't happen and it's going to be a long-term game, and there's nothing wrong with it being a long-term game. Right now I'm focused on growing in my role. I'm focused on learning valuable skills. Those two things apply to my 9 to 5. Outside of my 9 to 5, I'm focused on saving and investing consistently. I'm focused on building my foundation of wealth by using and utilizing my 9 to 5, right? Now, if you think about it this way, if I started a business, now I've never wanted to personally start my own business. It's not something I've ever been interested in really, but let's say I started my own business. I probably wouldn't have the money for at least the first few to couple years to invest or to save. A lot of my money would go into my business, and obviously that'd either be a good thing because I could be successful, or a bad thing. But then let's say it's a good thing and my business takes off. Well, you're still, you might not be able to call it, air quote, a 9 to 5, but now you're putting 12 to 14 hours a day into keeping your business running. For example, I used to work at a coffee shop, right? And I love the owner, right? He was a great guy. And he was trying to get out of the quote unquote system of working a 9 to 5. He wanted to be his own boss. And he started a coffee shop. And this dude worked 20-hour days to make sure that coffee shop was running as perfectly as possible. And he was making maybe take home $50,000 a year. And I'm not hating on him. The dude was awesome. He was a great mentor to me. I loved him. I worked 10-hour shifts with him because I wanted to see him succeed. I'm just saying, there's this big stigma right now. And once again, I feel like a lot of it stems from social media, that we should hate our 9 to 5s and we should hate working for people and we should want to be our own bosses. And while I think that's a great mindset to have, of wanting to be your own boss and creating your own success, at the end of the day, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you feel like you're doing something wrong because you've seen people online say it's not a good path, please know you're not doing anything wrong. Please know that. You're building wealth at your own pace. You should be, and if you aren't, you can start stacking slow and smart. And if your job, the current job you have, the 9 to 5 or corporate job, it funds your peace, it funds your growth, it funds your family, and potentially your long-term goals, I mean, that's a win-win for you. You should feel so happy that you have a 9 to 5 that supports you in that way. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have 9 to 5s that hate their life, and I get that. And that's why I'm saying maybe look at different companies. But if you can find a company that meets those checklists, that lets you spend time with your family, that has a good culture, that has a good promotional path, right? And at the same time, you're building your own, money at your own pace. You're stacking your money, you're investing, you're saving, you're funding your growth, your long-term goals. That's a win-win. Don't let social media rush you or feel like you need to be rushed. I'm here to tell you that you don't need to be rushed. And I know it's hard. I'm 25 now. So, when I see these 22-year-olds talk about how they just bought a Lamborghini, I'm like, man, am I late to the game? But in reality, I'm not. I'm moving at my own pace, and that's okay. So, whether you're in a corporate job or a 9 to 5 or freelancing or just trying to figure out, just remember, there's no one right way to win. We are all just trying to build with intention. That is it. We're all trying to win together. We're all trying to build with intention, and it's a long, slow process that eventually will pay off for hopefully all of us. So thanks for watching. Drop a comment with your job path. You don't have to tell me what company you work for, but maybe if you like your 9 to 5, if you work a 9 to 5, if you work a corporate job, if you guys agree or disagree, let me know. I know this is, like I said, a hot topic. I know a lot of people don't agree with this nowadays, but I personally am one who agrees with it. I think there's something to be said for working for a corporation with a promotional path upwards that has a good work-life balance that is going to succeed. So let me know what you guys think about that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.